What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on the NFL. It is Thursday, November 30th, 2023, and catching my breath here, this is your Week 13 NFL predictions. Week 13 is here, man. The season has gone by fast. And now we are at the most important month of the regular season, and that is December. Well, technically, it's November. So tonight's Thursday night football game will count as a November game. But for the rest of the league, December games. And December games are absolutely crucial before the NFL playoffs, with divisions and seedings and wild card races. There's a lot of good stuff happening this weekend in the NFL. Tonight, I feel like could be a decent game. We have a lot to get into. I didn't do predictions last week because of all Thanksgiving, and I had a lot of stuff to do with Thanksgiving, and I couldn't cram in the predictions because I had the Dolphins preview to do on Wednesday with the game against the New York Jets. But we're back this week, Week 13 predictions. If you guys didn't see, I posted my Week 12 predictions on YouTube, on Twitter, and I went 11-5 last week. There wasn't a single team on a bye last week, and this week we have 6. I think it's the Bills, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Bears, the Giants, and the Minnesota Vikings. So those are the teams that we have on byes this week. And we got a couple good games to get into, man. But before we do that, I'm just going to get right into it. Waste no time. Let's talk about the standings in the AFC and the NFC right now. When we do these prediction videos, between now and Week 18, we are going to break down the standings, the playoff picture as it stands right now. In the AFC, you have the Baltimore Ravens, first seed at 9-3. They are going to be, they're not going to be playing this weekend, so I don't think they're going to be the first seed after all. The Kansas City Chiefs are second with 8-3. Jacksonville Jaguars 8-3. Miami Dolphins 8-3. 4 teams a half game out of each other for the number 1 seed. So that number 1 seed in the AFC is going to be an absolute dogfight for the rest of the season. As a Dolphins fan, I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Hopefully, it's the Miami Dolphins who end up as the number 1 seed, but I don't really think that's going to happen. But I hope I'm wrong. They look at the wild card. You see the Pittsburgh Steelers as the 5th seed at 7-4. The Cleveland Browns as the 6th seed at 7-4. And the Indianapolis Colts, led by Shane Steichen, 6-5 and the 7th seed in the AFC. Then the teams outside the hunt looking in, you got the Houston Texans, the Denver Broncos, and the Buffalo Bills. So that is your AFC playoff picture. Then you look at the NFC. You got the Philadelphia Eagles at 10-1 and the number 1 seed in the NFC. The San Francisco 49ers at 8-3. The Detroit Lions at 8-3. The Atlanta Falcons at 5-6. Again, NFC North, NFC South, worst division in football, not even close. Dallas Cowboys at 8-3. Seattle Seahawks at 6-5. And the Minnesota Vikings at 6-6. And this is how you tell that the AFC is so much superior than the NFC. You look at the Minnesota Vikings. If they're in the AFC, they're on the outside looking in. Their offense looked putrid on Monday night against the Chicago Bears, and they still have a playoff spot as the 7th seed right now. Then you look at the outside looking in. You have the Packers 5-6. The Rams, 5-6, the Saints, 5-6, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 4-7. So those are your playoff pictures right now for the AFC and the NFC. Let's get into this week's games. We're going to start off Thursday Night Football, and then I'm going to get the games out of the way, which I feel like are very predictable and don't really mean much. So we're going to do it the easy way. But we're going to talk about Thursday Night Football first. We have the Seattle Seahawks going to AT&T Stadium to face the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are on fire, man. They put up 45 points on the Washington Commanders on Thanksgiving Day. They're favored by 9 against the Seattle Seahawks, who are 6-5. The Seahawks are not going to have Kenneth Walker in this game. Seahawks are coming off a blowout loss to the San Francisco 49ers. And I feel like the Seahawks have absolutely no momentum right now, man. The NFC is so bad that the Seahawks are a playoff team right now. But you look at their schedule coming up. They play Dallas, then they have to play San Francisco again, and then they have to play Philly. Like, that's a tough 3 games. So after those 3 games, you might be looking at the Seattle Seahawks at a 6-8 record. That's very realistic. So, needless to say, this is a must-win game for the Seattle Seahawks tonight, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to win. Dallas has way too much momentum. Seattle is on the downward spiral right now. And I like Dallas more. They're favored by 9 points, which I do think is a lot. But I think they're going to end up winning this game at home. It's going to be a good showing for the defense. The offense will do its thing for the Cowboys, but I think this is going to be a really, really good showing for the Cowboys defense tonight against Geno Smith and company. Let's get these games out of the way that don't really matter in week 13. Chargers, Patriots, and Foxborough. I'm gonna take the Chargers. They could be on upset alert, but I don't see it. Just the Patriots have no fight in them right now. They're not fighting for Belichick. Belichick's as good as gone, and Brandon Staley's as good as gone as well. Both their seasons are over. I'm taking the Chargers. Falcons, Jets, probably going to be a really, really bad game with that Jets offense. I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons in this one. The Arizona Cardinals against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen, man, if the Steelers offense can start to click, that's a dangerous team right there. If their offense starts to get going and their defense is really good, that's a dangerous team to play in the playoffs, in my opinion. I think the Steelers are going to beat the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. I got the Steelers at home. Panthers, Bucks, give me the Bucks. And Browns, Rams. No Browns without Dorian Thompson-Robinson, which means that if he can't go, more than likely Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback. And Joe Flacco is a statue at like 40 years old. Give me the Rams all day in that matchup. So let's get into the other games that I didn't go over so fast. Detroit Lions against the New Orleans Saints. That's a 1 o'clock game on Fox. I'm taking the Lions here. I think the Lions are coming off a bad loss to the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. They kind of got a wake-up call that, hey, they got to wake it up. I still think the Lions are a good team. I don't think they're overrated by any means. I think the Saints might be a little bit overrated, man. I thought their offense would be way better than what it is right now. Derek Carr is not having a great season for the New Orleans Saints, in my opinion. And man, I thought they would run away with this division. They might not even make the playoffs, let alone win the division. So, I'm going to take the Lions. I'm going to take the Lions to go to Mercedes-Benz and get the victory over the struggling New Orleans Saints offense. Indianapolis Colts against the Tennessee Titans. This is an interesting game, in my opinion. The Colts are one of the hotter teams right now in the AFC. They've knocked off wins against the Panthers, the Patriots, the Buccaneers. So those are their 3 straight wins. And they're taking care of teams that they're supposed to beat. That's what they say in the NFL. You have to take care of the teams that you're better than and that you're supposed to beat. I thought they were going to lose to the Buccaneers last week, but I was wrong about that one. And now they go in with Jonathan Taylor with a fractured thumb, and he's going to miss 2 to 3 weeks of the season, which really sucks for my fantasy team. But luckily, I was able to pick up Zach Moss. So now I have the possibility, do I want to start Zach Moss? Do I want to put him in my flex spot? Should I sit Raheem Mostert? I don't really know what to do. I got a couple days to decide on that one. But Zach Moss is going to be the new running back for the Indianapolis Colts, and they're playing the Tennessee Titans team that, yes, they're 4-7. They have talent on their team, and their season, I guess, is over. But you look at their games, they don't lose much at home. All their home games this season, not counting the one in London. Chargers, they won. Bengals, they won. I'm not counting the Ravens game because that was in London. That's a neutral site game. The Falcons, they won. And the Carolina Panthers, they won. They don't lose at home, man. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans as my upset of the week. It's only a 1-point spread, but with the way these two teams' seasons are going, I'm going to take the Titans in this one. Will Levis is going to have a good game, and then, they'll see the Miami Dolphins next Monday night at Hard Rock Stadium, which I will be attending. But I'm going to take the Titans. I'm going to take the Titans this week against the Indianapolis Colts. And then this is a big one. This is a big matchup. I wouldn't say it's the biggest matchup of the week, but this is pretty big. You got the 6-5 Denver Broncos against the 6-5 Houston Texans. And right now, the Denver Broncos are the hottest team in the NFL. They started out their season 1-5. Then they've gotten wins against the Green Bay Packers, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Vikings, and they just beat the Cleveland Browns last Sunday. So they've got some really good wins under their belt. And Russell Wilson is playing really good football right now, man. He's playing really good. 20 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He's having a fantastic season for the Denver Broncos. And then the Texans, they were on fire. And then they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars last week with a field goal that hit the crossbar. So close. And they lost to the Jaguars 24-21. And this is a big game for the wild card. I think the Colts are going to lose this weekend. One of these teams are going to lose. I said the Rams are going to beat the Browns. And I said the Titans are going to beat the Colts. So one of these teams are going to jump in the wild card spot this week. And you look at the spread. 3.5 for the Houston Texans. The Texans are favored by 3.5. And the Denver Broncos are on a 5-game winning streak. And this is kind of confusing to me, man. I'm not going to lie. Broncos have won 5 in a row. They're the hottest team in the NFL. Texans are coming off a crushing defeat. Yet the Texans are favored by 3.5. I understand it's in Houston. But I was thinking more the lines like 2, maybe 1.5. This points to me that the Houston Texans are going to win this game. And the Denver Broncos, their high winning streak, their big winning streak that they're on right now is going to come to an end in the hands of C.J. Stroud. I'm taking the Houston Texans over the Denver Broncos this week. And then you have 4:25 at the Link, the San Francisco 49ers against the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a big game. And the Eagles, despite being 10-1, are underdogs by 3 points at home. So if this game was in San Francisco, you're looking at the 49ers being a 5-point favorite, which is absolutely insane to me with the wins that the Eagles have gotten the past couple weeks against the Kansas City Chiefs, a come-from-behind victory against the Buffalo Bills, a come-from-behind victory, which led into a Jake Elliott 59-yard field goal. That was the best game of the season. I'm sorry. I got to put my bias aside with the Dolphins and Chargers. That game was absolutely epic, but the game between the Bills and the Eagles was much better. And what made it so better was the Eagles winning that game against the Buffalo Bills. That's what made it so sweet. But the Eagles come to this one as underdogs in an NFC Championship rematch. And this is how big this game is. If the Eagles win, the San Francisco 49ers are basically out of the running for the number 1 seed. And also, next week, the Eagles play the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. So if the Eagles win this week, that game against the Cowboys, even if they lose, they're still going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're still going to be they're still going to be in first place in the NFC East. And the Cowboys are still going to have more work to do, and they're going to have to still hope for the Eagles to lose. Now, if the Eagles lose to San Francisco this week, which they very well could, then next week's game against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football is not only for the division, but it's for the first seed in the NFC at week 14 at that point of the season. So this is a huge game for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're missing a couple linebackers. I'm listening to the radio yesterday, and they're talking about how the Eagles' linebacker depth is banged up and how it could be favorable matchups for guys like Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. I don't know, man. I'm going to take the 49ers to win this game. I'm just so confused as to why they're 3-point favorites against a team that's 10-1, and the team that's 10-1 is the home team. Something's fishy about this, and I think Vegas knows something. I'm taking the 49ers to go to Philly and get this win against the Philadelphia Eagles. And that game next Sunday night against the Dallas Cowboys is going to be a massive game. It will be bigger than this game if they lose. If they win this game, then that game next Sunday night realistically doesn't really mean anything. Then we got Sunday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Green Bay Packers in the frozen tundra. And look, man, the Packers are red hot. I think they're going to lose this game to the Chiefs. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game by like maybe 10 points. But the Packers are going to lose this game, okay? And they're going to be 5-7. But they're not out of the playoff race as of yet. You look at the Seattle Seahawks remaining schedule. You look at the Minnesota Vikings remaining schedule. And then you look at the Packers. After they played the Chiefs this week, the Packers played the Giants, the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Chicago Bears. So the Packers could possibly run the table for the rest of the season, except the game against the Minnesota Vikings. They might be able to run the table and make a playoff and clinch a playoff berth. And I think that's a very realistic possibility, man. But I don't think they're beating the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend. Give me the Chiefs at home in a very close game. And then Monday Night Football, Cincinnati Bengals against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are favored by 8.5 points. Oh my goodness, how good would this game be if Joe Burrow was the starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals and not Jake Browning? If Joe Burrow was the quarterback for this game, I would be very excited to watch this game. But it's Jake Browning, And the Bengals offense looked really, really slow and bad with Jake Browning last week. And they're not going to be able to keep up with Jacksonville. Give me Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars to advance to 9-3. And those are your predictions. And the final game that we have to talk about this Sunday, 1 o'clock, the Miami Dolphins against the Washington Commanders. And if you want my thoughts on that game, then you're going to have to tune in to tomorrow's preview on the Big Fight Field channel. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, man. We're going to have to preview for the Dolphins Commanders game tomorrow on the channel. It'll be up 5 o'clock, 5:30 as usual. And then Sunday will be the post-game recap video. And then next week, it's basically a lead up to the Tennessee Titans game, which I will be going to. I don't know how much content I'm going to be doing next week because I have finals with classes. It fucking blows, and I hate it. But, you know, it is what it is. And I have shit to do. But, yeah, next week is basically a lead up to the Tennessee Titans game. I go to Miami. I can't think about it off the top of my head. I'll talk about it more tomorrow or Sunday here on the channel. But be sure to subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts on this week's games. Leave your predictions down below. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from me. And follow me on Twitter at Colin_Joseph. I'm getting out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy. And I'm out. Peace.